A Chinese government proposal to ban HIV carriers from using public bathhouses has come in for loud criticism from academics, some media and activists here in China. The public bathhouse may have largely disappeared in Western society, but in China, as in many Asian countries, the tradition of visiting a bathhouse for social or business purposes is alive and well. While some dubious establishments do exist, of course, where services beyond bathing, showering and legitimate massage are on offer, the majority of bathhouses are simply places to wash, relax, steam, have a foot or body massage and even eat and drink while you socialise or discuss business. They range from luxurious and exclusive spas to simple public baths used by locals who may not have bathing facilities at home even. Sexes are separated for bathing but afterwards can spend time together in private or lounges or in public rooms. So the proposal to order public bathhouses to display signs prohibiting entry to people with STDs, AIDS, HIV and infectious skin diseases would have really quite far-reaching effects on those barred. So far, the regulation is just a draft published for public consultation by China's top lawmaking body, the State Council. So to hear how Chinese net users have been reacting to the measures, let's cross over to the newsroom now and our researcher, Julia Lowe. Julia, can you give us a brief idea then of the reaction from the online community to this proposal?
Well, first of all, the proposal has definitely sparked a lot of opposition from mainstream media here in China, as well as various HIV/AIDS support organizations. For example, the Beijing Morning Post quotes one academic as saying simply, "A rule to bar HIV carriers from entering public bathhouses is completely over the top." While the United Nations AIDS Agency expressed its strong opposition and said that the restrictions should be removed from the final draft. But as a matter of fact, I have to say that the majority of net users don't seem to be that bothered by the proposal. Well, the web portal Sina.com carried out an online poll, and this showed more than 72% of 25,000 posters chose the option yes, people with HIV should be barred on grounds of safety. Well, here are just a few samples of the most common concerns I've seen expressed. Well, this poster's comment on 163.com in fact got thousands of support votes. Well, the fact is, no matter what, as long as I know that an HIV carrier has been to a bathhouse, I will never go there again. Well, this poster says, honestly, I don't think this is discrimination. It's just common concern from us ordinary people, precautionarily, just in case. And if there are concerns mentioned, it's more about how successfully the measures can be implemented, like Lao Xu Shanghai, who says on Weibo.com. I really question the practicality of such a policy. You can't tell by someone's appearance if they are HIV positive or not. How can bathhouses check whether customers have the virus? This will be like that law compelling children to visit their parents. It's just pointless if you can't implement it.
Well, if that's the case, and it seems to be, then it would appear that there's a very widespread misconception about just how HIV is transmitted. But you did mention that official media and more informed sources have expressed very strong opposition to this. Have you seen any of those views expressed online?
Well, I should add that it's not an unanimous view in favor of the ban. That poll showed that there are still about 30% of posters who don't agree. And many of these tend to bemoan that lack of public knowledge about the disease. While this poster, Donna DR, says on Weibo.com, I have to say that this regulation is just foolish and discriminatory. It makes me sad, not only for the HIV carriers, but also for the policymakers. Well, this poster, Teng Teng Cai 2011, has a similar argument. I thought it was just common sense that you can't get HIV by simply bathing with an HIV carrier. What are these policymakers thinking? And there's also some response to some of the potential dangers cited by those in favor of the ban. For example, many net users said they worried that if someone with HIV got cut, say in a pedicure treatment, that virus might be transmitted to them through the blood. While a poster on 163.com has this to say. Well, first of all, the possibility of such a scenario is zero. Secondly, it should be the responsibility of the bathhouse to improve its procedures, like using disposable tools, rather than using it as an excuse to bar HIV carriers from bathhouses. And some point out that the government proposal itself is irresponsible, like Wang Junrong, who says on China.com. Such a regulation won't do any good in terms of controlling the spread of HIV. On the contrary, it's propagating a clearly wrong idea among the general public and will only increase fear and misunderstanding on this issue.
Well, this poster mentions That poster mentions misunderstanding, and as we've seen, there definitely does seem to be a lack of clear knowledge about HIV/AIDS out there in the general public, at least. Are there any suggestions as to why this is so?
Yes, I have seen comments from some net users on just this point. First, this poster describes what the reality is like in this absence of education. Although I hate to admit it, there's a deep-rooted idea in many Chinese minds that it's dangerous to have any contact with an HIV carrier. For example, if you dare to admit you have HIV, the dishes that you've eaten from with your chopsticks will never be touched by anyone else at a meal. Well, this poster, ASA Fan, on Sina.com has this frustrated comment. Well, just look at the support for this proposal and people shouting about safety concerns, which have no basis in fact. That's the result of our government's poor performance in recent years in terms of education on this issue. And Ms. Ah Yue on Weibo.com goes into more detail. Well, civil servants applicants are barred from positions if they have HIV. The lack of sex education. Now this proposal, all this reflects our government's failure in terms of AIDS information work. While government's anti-discrimination initiatives are all talk and no action, there's a reason for people's failure to understand this. And I'll finish up with this comment from 163.com. Well, discrimination from a government organ has a disproportionately more effect than that from another person. The departments responsible for this area need to place more attention on scientific facts, reality, and the effect of what they produce before releasing any proposal publicly.
Okay, thanks for that, Julia. And that was China Take researcher Julia Liu with some online reaction to that government proposal, a draft document just at the moment, to ban, amongst others, people with carrying HIV from public bathhouses, very popular institutions right across China. Next up on China Take, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines.